Now, before I get things started onto this little story, I want to give you guys a little bit of a warning that in this story, I will be going into some political subject matter. Now, I do understand that this might not be for everyone, considering that there are some that, they cannot stand listening to anything politics, especially in this day and age. So, if you are too sensitive to hear anything related to politics, or you are absolutely incapable of hearing an opinion that may be different than your own, then I highly advise that you run away now. Go! Free yourself! Run! Run as fast as you can! Run faster! Alright, but anyways, for those of you who are willing enough to stick around, alright! Welcome to the crazy game of mixing animation with politics. And what I shall be talking about is the latest surprise hit that DreamWorks has in store for us, which is The Boss Baby. Now, recently, a lot of people have been comparing The Boss Baby to Donald Trump. Like, that seems to be the big trend that's been going on right now, down to the point that it went from just joking around about it to actually kind of taking it seriously. Because there are actually some critics out there who did legitimately think that this could actually be an entire satire on Donald Trump. Going into my source here on The Guardian, there are some critics, like from Vulture, that would put up articles like, stop saying every piece of art is about Trump, only Boss Baby is about Trump. And then you got Rolling Stone that would say, the Boss Baby review, this is not the Trump trolling tune you're looking for. And then you got Vanity Fair asking the big question, is the Boss Baby really a cartoon about infant Donald Trump? And then would later declare, this baby's level of competence makes it abundantly clear this really isn't a Trump parody at all. And some people are really surprised that they think that they will get a lot of Trump jokes, but no, that is not the case. It has gone so crazy down to the point that even the director, Tom McGrath, and writer, Michael McCullen, they had to step in and say that this is entirely coincidental. Once again, going into my source directly on The Guardian, it says, director Tom McGrath, who is best known for his work on the Madagascar franchise, said comparisons between his title character and the dictator were a gift or a nightmare, I don't know. And pretty much stating how everything about the character of the Boss Baby, like with his entire mannerisms and stuff like that, they may seem like Trump, but it's not based directly on Trump. They actually stated there's an overlap in business guy tropes, but no, it's in no way based on Trump. It's based on an immature, sometimes greedy businessman. So if people want to draw their own conclusions about that, but no, it wasn't. So basically what he's trying to say, yeah, it kind of is Trump. No, I'm just kidding. But there is also another giant factor that people would make comparisons with the Boss Baby and Trump, is actually the factor of the star of the Boss Baby, Alec Baldwin, considering that he is extremely well known nowadays. Like, his popularity has soared by playing Donald Trump on Saturday Night Live. And even on that factor, they say that it is a massive coincidence right over there. And on top of that, even the author of the original book that it was based on, Marla Frazee, she actually stated, where should I start? Oh, okay. Author Marla Frazee, who wrote the book that inspired the film, told Hollywood Reporter that Baldwin's roles on SNL and in Boss Baby resonate on so many levels. She said, I'm not quite sure that this is how I would have wanted the country's trajectory to go, but yes, the echoes are very much unbelievable. So there is this massive coincidence that you got this Boss Baby character, and in some way, shape, or form, is actually similar to Donald Trump. And one more little quote that I would like to add right over here. This is coming from Tom McGrath once again, saying that I guess people can find that connection amusing, but I don't think that if you go looking for a political statement in the movie, that they're really, hold on, sorry about that. Let me just repeat that, because there is a specific way on how to say this phrase. I guess people can find that connection amusing, but I don't think that if you go looking for a political statement in the movie, there really is one. If it makes people interested in seeing the movie, I'm glad. If it distracts people from what the movie is really about, then I'm sad. But here's the big thing, though, about The Boss Baby. For those of you who have seen my review on my YouTube channel, you might have guessed that, yeah, I'm not necessarily a fan of The Boss Baby, just because there really isn't much substance to the film. I mean, this is literally a movie where Alec Baldwin is just being Alec Baldwin as a baby. And it wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if there are audiences and critics out there that are trying to find more than what's already there to begin with. Like, a lot of people aren't accepting the fact that this is an entire animated feature just based on this simple little premise that should have worked out better as just this 3-minute Saturday Night Live skit than an actual feature-length film, let alone one for animation. Like, they would just be looking at it stating, it's like, there's got to be more to it. Maybe this is like a political satire or something like that. Like, they really want to try to dig deep into it. Maybe there's more to it, but no. It's just this really, like, probably too simplistic animated feature. So yeah, I don't blame the people. It's just mostly because the movie is built way too simplistically. And in terms of the factor about the whole business guy aspect, it is true that with the Boss Baby, they did try to build him as more of your stereotypical CEO, where, like, he's all in the business, he knows a lot about the numbers, like a lot egotistical and also greedy, and can be a lot immature. And that's why a lot of people would find similarities to Trump on that. But here's the big thing, though. Trump is your stereotypical businessman. Like, he is greedy. He is immature. He does act more like this douchey businessman, you know? Like, it is how it is. There are some people, like, there are some actual things that were made, like, long before Trump's popularity rose from The Apprentice, that they would base evil businessmen on Trump. But honestly, the whole aspect of saying that, you know, that The Boss Baby is based on Trump, like, you could take any other evil businessman type of character and you could say that, oh, he's based on Trump, like either Sykes from Oliver and Company, or oh man, what other evil businessman character is there? I'm trying to think, but fudge nabbit. Or like oh, here's another great example, like the evil businessman in The Little Prince. Like, that could be based on Trump. Like, you can literally do any of those and you could base it on Trump and there could be some resemblance, but that's just because Trump is a guy that is born and raised from the establishment. And yet, for some reason, he's trying to portray himself recently as the guy who's trying to take down the establishment for the little people. Yeah, a guy from the establishment taking down the establishment. I mean, who would be so stupid to believe that? Am I right, guys? No, but honestly, I actually did find a few things that actually do indicate that The Boss Baby is not based on Trump. And the big key factor is actually the Boss Baby's employees. Because when you do think about it, for those of you who have seen either the movie or you have at least seen the little clip of the Boss Baby having his meeting with all his other baby friends talking about puppies and stuff like that, you may remember that on his entire team, there are what I mean is that there are black triplets, there is an Asian girl, and the only white guy is this dumb baby whom I swear one of his parents must be a gorilla. And that's pretty much it. And that's the big problem with the comparisons with Trump, is that you got this entirely diverse group of people conducting this meeting. If this is supposed to be this satire on Trump, all of these babies would have been white males talking about women health issues. Because if there is anyone out there that should be talking about what women should do with their bodies, it's a bunch of old, uneducated, misogynistic white men. You know, come to think of it, actually, now I think I'm starting to understand why Trump and the GOP would actually trust Fox News as a legitimate news source. Because they want to hear their news coming from misogynistic sexual predators like Bill O'Reilly. No, but anyways, going back onto the Boss Baby, like, you have this entire group of, like, diverse babies, which something that Trump wouldn't actually do. But then there is another huge factor, is actually the black triplets being yes men. And in that scene, the Boss Baby is not pleased with the fact that he has a bunch of yes men with him. And if you know Trump, this is a guy who is purely fueled by yes men. He cannot mentally function without yes men. This is the guy who tries to smack down the media because he is incapable of taking any sort of criticism whatsoever. So that's why he needs those yes men. He needs yes men to say that, yes, things are working, yes, things are going well, and all that kind of stuff, when in reality things are becoming such a huge disaster. So that's the big difference right there, is that the Boss Baby does not want yes men, where Trump cannot mentally function without yes men. But I will say, though, that I can see some similarities with the entire meeting with the group of babies and Trump with his administration. I can see that, like, they can actually go in a similar vein if you do think about it. Like, I can imagine Trump and his administration going, all right, guys, well, what did you learn regarding Obamacare? Abortion is bad. Minorities are bad. No, guys. About Obamacare. What did you learn about Obamacare? Yeah, Obamacare. No, Jimbo. Obamacare is bad. Betsy DeVos, read me the notes.
I don't know how to read. What's it say?
You know, it just goes all like that. I can definitely see it right there. But another similarity that I can see coming from this is actually regarding the villain of the film, Francis, the owner of Puppy Co. If they want to make an entire satire on Trump, then what Francis could have been is either African American, or they could have made him an older blonde woman, just so they can be like this representation of the GOP's favorite scapegoats whenever they did something bad and they want to go and try to put the blame on any kind of Democratic head, is either Obama or Hillary Clinton. So yeah, basically they could have done that for Francis, and the way that they could have taken down Francis, like, Tim and the Boss Baby, they couldn't have done it by themselves. What the Boss Baby could have done to take down Francis, like, if he were a Donald Trump parody, is by calling in a bunch of Russian babies to go and take Francis down and claim that the Boss Baby legitimately took him down on his own. And then right afterwards, like, whenever they would do something terrible, then he would just pull in his little scapegoat technique and just say, but Puppy Co's emails! Yeah, I did a bad thing, but what about Puppy Co's emails? The Puppy Co emails! You know, just like all those comparisons. But yeah, I do feel a little bit sympathetic overall to Tom McGrath going through all this for this massive coincidence over the factor that the Boss Baby would be compared to Donald Trump. But honestly, at the same time, though, I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if that could probably be a reason why the Boss Baby is so successful. Because it's probably one of the biggest surprises of the year, the fact that the Boss Baby is actually doing pretty well at the box office, even by beating down Beauty and the Beast on its third week. So maybe the whole Trump comparison could be more of a blessing than it is a curse to the movie. So who knows? But yeah, overall, this is one thing that I absolutely do agree with Tom McGrath and Michael McCullers about The Boss Baby, is that no, The Boss Baby is not Donald Trump. Especially when the approval ratings from critics, The Boss Baby is a lot more higher than Trump's. Hey guys, this is AniMat. I just want to remind you guys that this is just a little taste of what you can get with the Animation Podcast. This is not all of it. If you guys want to go and listen to the full episodes of the Animation Podcast, then allow me to show you some of the different ways that you can go. First off, you can actually go on the website that it is hosted on, Filmbook, so you can go directly onto there. You can also go and check out the official Filmbook Podcast YouTube page, so at least you don't have to go away from YouTube and you can listen to the podcast right there. But if you would like to listen on the go, like if you want to listen it to on your phone or on your iPad and all that kind of stuff, then you can listen to it on either iTunes or you can listen to it on Android. So those are all the different options, and if you'd like to have more info, then all you have to do is just check in the description down below. And with all that said, I just want to say thank you guys so much for listening, and until next time, see you later, dudes!